First, I have to tell you about the trunk. It belonged to a middle-aged nobody, I guess call them Lou, who had an enormous lake house in the woods. It was Braden who told us about the house. Said it was full of antique Chinese porcelain and vases and jade and all sorts of valuables. Said that the owner was a recluse who didn't do anything but collect precious objects and hoard them, that the house was practically a museum. But the heist was all Jess's idea. Not mine. None of it was mine. Not that it's an excuse for what happened. I'm just saying, I didn't intend for any of this. Nobody did. It's just that the opportunity was there. Because all those old antique vases, that shit was valuable. Braden ran an auction biz, that's how he met Lou, and how he knew that Lou was harmless. A bald-headed hermit of indeterminate gender, Lou was shy and short and nearsighted, and Braden said, they're like a piglet from Winnie the Pooh was human and hoarded antiques. More importantly, Lou distrusted technology and feared government surveillance, and had no cameras. Only a simple alarm system. Here's what we do. We just knock on the door, acting friendly, until the antiques collector disarms the alarm to open it up for us. Easy, claimed Jess. She was the brassy one, and since Lou might recognize Braden, she agreed to be the knocker. Not only was our victim nearsighted, but Jess planned to disguise her appearance with makeup and a wig. After the door was open, I lunge and tackle Lou. Then we bind Lou's hands with zip ties and lock them in a closet while we looted the house. And at first, everything went off without a hitch. It was all too easy. Just like Braden said, Lou answered the door, and surrendered to us like a petrified hare, not even objecting, just shivering until we put the bag over their bald head. The only problem was the closet. The closets were all full of winter supplies, or cleaning items, or pantry stocks. Then I spotted the trunk. A big, lacquered antique trunk with designs all across the top and sides. I pointed it out to Jess and she got a big grin, and we pushed Lou into the trunk and closed and locked it. Then Braden came in and silently pointed us to the most valuable items, and we packed them all up. There was a Qing Dynasty vase worth 5,000. Ming Dynasty jades worth tens of thousands. And so much more. After we left, Braden mentioned one of us should call the cops and tip them off so that Lou wouldn't be left in the trunk. Jess said it shouldn't be one of us. If it got traced back to us, we'd be fucked. And eventually Jess convinced me to talk to my girlfriend at the time, Monique. I told her I'd witnessed a possible break-in and that I didn't want to call it in myself because I already looked shady, peeking in through the windows. Monique probably suspected something was up. She was reluctant to make the call, but after my wheedling and promising to buy her something nice if she did, she finally agreed. Then we all went out for drinks and celebrated our haul. And since Braden was the one who was gonna sell the stuff and get our share to us, he gave me and Jess an advance. It all went off without a hitch. Until a little over a week later, when Braden called. His voice was strained on the phone. "Yo," he said, "you called in that tip, right?" "What?" "Yeah." A long pause. "And then, I sent my delivery guy to the house. He said no one was home." Lou's not answering the phone either. Delivery? I echoed, confused. Yo, I told you about this last week. I know Lou from auction. They bought an item, and I told them I'd make a delivery. I sent my guy to do it. I was also gonna try and get a feel for Lou's reaction to everything, you know. See if they have any suspicions. Okay. You sure you called in that tip? Yes. I mean, Monique, she said she'd get here now. Fuck. On my way to Braden's office, I spoke to Monique. She was at work, and I asked if she called in that tip last week like she promised, and she said, "Oh, shoot, babe." My stomach dropped. What do you mean, shoot? I didn't even want to make the call, okay? You pressured me into it. I didn't want to do it, and I was getting worked up about it because it felt weird, and then I forgot. Alright. What is the big deal? What is the big deal? The big deal is I bit off my words, cause anything else I said could incriminate me. Monique didn't know any details, just my story about seeing something shady. Yeah, it was weak, but she seemed to buy it at the time. All she had to do was call the fucking cops, you know. None of this would happened if she just called the cops like she was fucking supposed to. So there we were, the three of us, Jess and Braden and I, standing in Braden's office screaming accusations at each other. Then Braden said we had to go back to the house and check on everything. Jess was firmly against the idea. Braden said fine, he and I would go since he had a delivery to make anyway. I tried to object, but he told me, "No, you fucked this up, you're coming with me." So we made the drive up to the lake house. And on our way there, winding through the trees, it struck me how isolated the place was. How deep into the woods and nature and all that crap. And how if you were stuck in a closet or inside a trunk surrounded by jade and porcelain, there would be no neighbors to hear you scream. Still, somehow the reality hadn't settled in yet. I clung to the vague notion everything would turn out all right. That we'd break in and open the trunk and that little bald collector would be petrified and traumatized but wouldn't recognize me. That somehow, they wouldn't know the hands of the person who pushed them into the trunk. What kind of idiot am I, that I was worried about being recognized? Then we were at the house. That big, beautiful house with the deck overlooking the lake and the tall glass windows. And everything seemed calm. But the front entrance in the shade of the trees was ominous, somehow. And the silence hung too heavy. And Braden and I got out and approached the door, and both of us just stood there for a moment. When we tried the knob, it was locked. We closed it behind us when we left a week ago. No, more than that. It been 9 days. Braden told me to look for another way in. I didn't like being bossed around, but apparently that's how it was since he and Jess both blamed me. So I went around the side of the big house, trying the windows, and to my surprise the window to the living room slid easily upwards. I froze as I peered through the open window into the dim interior, which looked exactly as we left it. And there, still in its place in the corner sandwiched between the sofa and an ornate hutch, was the trunk. Only it appeared to have shifted slightly. It was ever so slightly askew compared to the other items in the room. Compared to the furniture that was almost obsessively positioned, every item in perfect place. The trunk was like a cockeyed picture frame. Like something inside had been banging around, knocking it out of position. It was still locked shut. I pulled my head out of the window and looked back at Braden. His face looked exactly how mine felt, tight, heavy with dread. We both noticed the smell. A god-awful stink emanating from inside. What's important is that you understand it wasn't supposed to go that way. Nothing went like how it was supposed to. It was all just a mistake. A stupid fucking mistake. But the real problem, the reason I'm writing this post now, is because of what came next. I don't know what the fuck to do. I can't ask anyone for help. Can't go to the police. And here's the real fucking problem. The trunk is in my home. I don't know how it got here. All I know is I woke up one morning and it was in my living room. Wait. Let me back up. Before that, we had all these antiques, right? We never saw a dime from them. After Braden and I left the lake house, we didn't speak to a soul. We didn't